Back when I made the Galaxy 1 video, I kind of assumed I'd be done with Galaxy for a while, but after finishing it, I still had this drive to make more. Like I've said before, I absolutely adore these games, so just talking about Galaxy 1 for 20 minutes wasn't enough. I didn't think I'd be working on this video so soon, but here we are. Today, I'd like to talk about Super Mario Galaxy 2, and just like I did with Galaxy 1, I'll be covering its worlds, some of its enemies, and its story. Buckle up, there's a lot to go over. Everyone and their dog knew I was going to cover this place, so let's just bite the bullet and talk about it first. Shiver Burn Galaxy. This galaxy's gimmick is pretty interesting, but it's been done plenty of times before. A mix of ice and fire platforming. The area's boss is Prince Picante, who is likely related to King Caliente. Not only do they both share Spanish-inspired names, but they're clearly both octopi. I'm guessing Prince Picante wasn't too happy after finding out what happened to his father in the first Galaxy game. This is the real reason we're talking about this place. What are they? We have no clue. They're known in the internal game files as Hell Valley Sky Trees. There's not a whole lot to say about them, honestly. I've covered them before on my channel, both in a more out-there theory video and another where I tried piecing together the whole alien connection across multiple Nintendo games like Animal Crossing and, well, Mario. They even show up in WarioWare, weirdly enough. They could just be creepy aliens watching Mario from afar, or, as their name in the file suggests, trees. They might even be based on Kodama, spirits from Japanese folklore said to inhabit trees and curse anyone who cuts them down. Honestly, if you want to add creepy Easter eggs to your game, ghosts or aliens are the way to go. So, while I've thrown some pretty wild theories out there about these guys, it's also totally possible they're just nothing. Just eerie little shapes in the background. Oh, and by the way, they also appear in Grandmaster Galaxy, since part of that stage reuses the same skybox. Galaxy 1 may be my favorite Mario game, but Galaxy 2 has my favorite area, Slimy Spring. I've talked about this galaxy on the channel before. There's just something about it that feels so surreal. The word liminal gets thrown around a lot these days. Everything is called liminal. But this is one of the few places where I feel like that word actually applies. We start off in this foggy, underground cavern, swimming through Boo and Snoodle-infested waters. The whole area has this mysterious, almost solemn feeling to it. Then, eventually, once you break out of the cavern, you're met with a beautiful sunrise on an outcropping along the side of the planet. Lore-wise, it's probably just some random cavernous planet Mario happens to find himself in. But I can't help feeling like there's something more here. The idea of traversing dark, murky waters and emerging into the light feels almost like a spiritual journey of some kind. There's not much to say here, story-wise. Maybe just a cavern Bowser tossed some of his forces into, or maybe some sort of sunken graveyard. But I had to mention this galaxy. It's a special one for me. Yoshi Star Galaxy. If you couldn't guess from the name, this is where you find Yoshi. The name was always kind of weird to me though. I mean, yeah, Yoshi's here, but would they really name the entire galaxy after that alone? The place is filled with greenery and meadows, so maybe there used to be a bunch of Yoshis living here before Bowser's troops took over? Or maybe, and hear me out, there was a Yoshi-colored Luma that transformed into this place or something? We've already established that Lumas can become quite a few different things, even bunnies. So, I guess that's not too far-fetched. The boss here is King Lakitu, and he kind of reminds me of Lackey Thunder from New Super Mario Bros. If you wanted to destroy or take control of this galaxy, one that's full of wildlife and all the veggies and fruit need to sustain that life, well, covering it in storms and darkness seems like the way to go. Bowser really thought this one through, I guess. Chompworks, a galaxy filled with Chain Chomps. Yoshi Star and Chompworks. Real creative there, Nintendo. Anyway, this seems to be where Chain Chomps are made. I'd assume this whole area would have to be Bowser's doing. Maybe it's an entire galaxy built just to create his forces? Unless this is actually the birthplace of the universe's Chain Chomps, which is a very weird thought. Bowser does have a galaxy generator in this game, and once again, he pretty much has the entire universe under his control. So, I guess it's not too crazy to think this place was created by him and his army. In this galaxy, you also find cosmic clones, so I guess now is a good time as any to talk about them since I didn't in the last video. The Galaxy games have these strange enemies that act as cosmic copies of both Mario and Luigi, cosmic clones, and also these other cosmic Mario and Luigi figures that aren't quite the same thing. It's unclear what exactly they are, creepily enough. They could be shadowy apparitions made by Bowser or Kamek. The former only appear when a cosmic comet passes overhead, while the darker, shadowy clones appear in Galaxy 2 when a clone comet is active, and they're allegedly made from dark matter. So, are these comets just natural celestial events? Or are Bowser and his troops somehow responsible? Like many things in the Mario series, we have no idea. There's also a cosmic version of Rosalina, known simply as the Cosmic Spirit. Rather than acting as an adversary, she serves as a guide for the player. Considering how closely she resembles Rosalina, she might be some kind of body double that Rosalina created to help Mario on his journey. How could I not talk about Throwback Galaxy, aka Whomp's Fortress from Super Mario 64? I was honestly shocked when I first saw this place as a kid. I didn't expect it at all. It's nearly identical to its 64 counterpart, right down to the layout. You even fight the Whomp King again at the end. Considering the Bob-omb buddies seem to recognize Mario a bit, and the Whomp King says he's been crushed again after being defeated, it's likely this is the exact same place from 64. But that raises a few questions. Was this where it was always located? Did Bowser recreate the world itself? Or did he somehow drag that old fortress from Earth and toss it into space to guard one of his strongholds? Well, remember that Whomp's Fortress was always surrounded by a void, so maybe this was where it always existed, far out in space all along. Makes you wonder how Peach even got that painting to begin with. Just fiery planetoids suspended over what appears to be a void of lava and flame. This is Melty Monster Galaxy, and like the name implies, you'll mostly find giant, fiery monsters known as Magmargs and Magmaws. This definitely feels like an area Bowser would call home, which makes sense, considering this is the first part of the main game's final world. There's this ominous storm swirling around the entire area, or maybe it's just smoke from all the fire. Either way, it adds to the atmosphere. While you can find Bowser's troops here, it's hard to say whether he actually took this place over, or if he just dumped his soldiers and a few power stars here before skedaddling. After all, the Blargs don't seem like they're much for conversation. Riding on the back of a sandbird and try not to fall off. Now, why does that sound familiar? This is Slip Sand Galaxy. There's nothing too remarkable about it, aside from the giant pyramid in the background and our pal Squizzard, the boss of the area. He kind of looks like a mix between a Koopa Troopa and a bird. And his name Squizzard is a combination of squid and lizard. Guess that explains the extra appendages sticking out of the sand. But who built that pyramid in the background? Did an intelligent race once live here long ago before Squizzard took over? Or maybe they even revered him as some sort of deity. In the last Galaxy video, I talked about the possibility of the Top Men being responsible for the creation of these more mechanized planets and galaxies, and it seems like we still see that in the sequel, despite the Top Men no longer being one of the main threats. Space Storm Galaxy has a lot in common with Dreadnought Galaxy, and you even find some of the Top Men here, remnants of Bowser's army from the last game. Or, since the universe reset, maybe they're just here organically, or Bowser only recruited a few this time around. Hard to say. One of the missions even calls the galaxy's main tower Top Man Tower. So, yeah, this is definitely one of their bases. Looks like my theory from the first video about these planets belonging to the Top Men might actually hold some weight. Look at him. This is a pup dozer. Adorable. Their leader? Not so much. This is wrong one. This is Flipsville Galaxy, one of the weirder areas in the Galaxy games, both because of its unique enemies, layout, and atmosphere. I don't know why, but the houses here remind me of the buildings from Wet Dry World in Mario 64. Was this just a regular galactic neighborhood before Bowser came along and dropped an entire doghouse on it? Wait, is that what they're supposed to be? Doghouses? I guess now it makes sense. You also find Chomps here, which fits perfectly with the theme. Tall Trunk Galaxy. As the name implies, it's a tree with a tall trunk. There's nothing super wild about this place, except for the fact that it introduces the Whittles. They're small wooden tree sprites that look like they were just chopped from a log straight into existence. They also remind me of Kodama, those tree spirits from Japanese folklore that we talked about earlier during the Shiverburn section. Specifically, they remind me of the ones from Princess Mononoke. Maybe if they are based on Kodama, they're actually smaller souls living inside those logs. Their name Whittle comes from, well, little, and the word whittle, which means to carve something out of wood. Tying this back to the Kodama idea, maybe it's literal. Their wooden bodies could have been carved from the massive tree they live in. And again, this is a giant tree. There's already a Kodama reference elsewhere in the game. It's just a theory, but I feel like I might be onto something here. Bowser isn't messing around this time either when it comes to his bases or his conquest. We've got his lava lair, the gravity gauntlet, and of course the galaxy generator. The lava lair itself feels like Bowser experimenting with stars, and the fire and magma they produce, as a potential fuel source. Much of the level has you running and dodging fire until you finally reach his throne. This place feels like an evolved version of his star reactor from the first game, or even his grand star reactors, just on a much larger scale. It serves both as a heavily fortified base and a sort of battery for his empire. Then there's the gravity gauntlet. Like the dark matter plant from the first game, this area seems to show Bowser experimenting with gravity itself. Maybe to weaponize it, or to conduct the same kind of dangerous experiments we saw before. Finally, we have the galaxy generator, and just as it sounds, and as Bowser outright says himself, this is where he plans to build his galactic empire, just like in the first game. Forts, planets, and entire worlds crafted in his image and likeness. You'd have to imagine this entire galaxy was created by him specifically, to serve as his fortress, and his final line of defense. Getting into the story now, the game starts off almost exactly like the first. Mario is, once again, invited to the Star Festival as the Comet Observatory passes over Earth. Bowser attacks the Mushroom Kingdom and takes Peach. Except, this time, he's absolutely massive. We later learn the reason for that. He hasn't just been using the Grand Stars to power his empire like in the first game, he's actually consuming them. The Grand Stars directly fuel Bowser's strength, turning him into a giant, and granting him terrifying new abilities. We even see him absorbing an entire comet before the final battle in his base. Instead of meeting Rosalina right away, the Lumas themselves help Mario go after Bowser. That's where he meets his new spacefaring companion, Lubba, who, like Mario, was also attacked by Bowser. Realizing they need each other's help, Lubba uses the Power Star Mario collects in his first mission to transform the planet into Starship Mario, and the two set sail across the universe in search of the stolen Power Stars and Peach. Going back to the first game for a moment, during its climax, a massive black hole forms after Bowser's sun collapses. The Lumas sacrifice themselves to save the universe before everything is consumed, essentially resetting the world. A new timeline, or even perhaps a new universe, is born from the Big Bang-like event that follows. I talked about this in my Donkey Kong Bonanza video, how Galaxy 1 ends with a cosmic reset, and how Galaxy 2 takes place in that new universe. Same characters, but with slightly different backstories and settings. We see this play out in practice here. The events are strikingly similar, but subtly different. It's less of a direct sequel, and more of a retelling of the original Galaxy story. We do see Rosalina again, but not until the very end of the campaign. It seems she's been searching for the Apricot Luma she calls her precious little one. Despite this being a new reality, or universe, she still shares the same bond and backstory with him. Perhaps those closely connected to Rosalina aren't affected by the cosmic reset. Or maybe she herself exists outside the normal laws of the universe. After all, she's clearly aware of what's happening during the finale of Galaxy 1. So, even in this new reality, that same Luma became the beacon of the observatory once again, reborn just like before. And/or he was carried over from Galaxy 1, after being reborn from that reset, just like everyone else was. I already covered Lubba's backstory in the previous video, but before we wrap up, I'd like to talk about something else tied to the Lumas: comets. Comets appear throughout these games, and when they pass by, strange things happen to the environment. New enemies appear, new power stars emerge, and even the world itself seems to shift. It's unclear exactly why this occurs, but perhaps the comets have unique properties that, when introduced to a planet's atmosphere, trigger these unusual effects. From the storybook, we know that new Lumas are born from the stardust of a transforming Luma. Perhaps these comets themselves give birth to new Lumas as they fly through space. New creatures might form from the stardust, and power stars could break off from the comets as well. We see something similar during the Star Festival, with star bits flying from the observatory into the Mushroom Kingdom below. Power stars and even grand stars included. This also explains why each comet gives a new power star that isn't normally present in the galaxy it passes through. That star likely broke off from the comet, or was created by its stardust. Likewise, the prankster comets that spawn cosmic clones may carry dark matter that splits off to form the shadowy clones chasing after Mario and Luigi. And that's about all I have for Galaxy 2. Like I said before, these games don't have a ton of story. Unlike Galaxy 1, there's no storybook this time. Well, they did add Lubba's backstory in the re-release, but I already covered that in the first video like I mentioned already. There were a few things I wanted to discuss this time that I didn't cover before, like the cosmic clones, comets, and the universal reset. Those elements are pretty interesting, so I wanted to mention them somewhere in the video. Anyway, this is for real my last video on the Galaxy games for a while. I think I've talked about everything I wanted to cover. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.